Tomorrow's leaders and changing lives. Parkside EDC has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Happy Tuesday. Welcome in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Little throwback of Latifah. Get it in, Queen La. We love to hear from Latifah. I would like to hear Latifah make some music again. I've said that before. I would love it. Her stage presence, her energy, her aura. I know most people of this generation only think of her as an actress, but Latifah had bars. You are locked into KBLA Talk 1580 with me, Jill Munroe, here for your entertainment, pop culture, sports, all of the good things, news, updates, your front row seat to the culture. So I am keeping you plugged in to the biggest headlines and trending topics of the day. Tonight, we are diving into Mariah Carey. She had a viral reaction at the iHeartRadio Music Awards. And was it shade, or did the camera just catch her at an awkward moment? We're going to hear the moment that Mariah allegedly, maybe, was side-eyeing, and we're going to get into it. Plus, we're going to talk a little Shannon Sharpe. So, Club Shay Shay, that's where stories come alive. Things come to life. And in a recent episode, Shannon was sharing how he has very strict rules about how he conducts himself with women that he does not know. And even if he, may know them loosely, he approaches and deals with them in a much different manner. So we're going to get into what he does, and is it an overreaction or a necessary precaution in the current times that we are living in? And we're going to get into Raven-Symoné. Raven said that she is saying bye to the guys. We're going to get into what she said, all of that, and why I'm a little confused as to why this is coming out now. We're going to talk about that. So, grab your drink, get your snacks, and get comfortable, and let's talk about it. So before we get started, of course, we got a few conversation starters, things to get into and let you know about, that you got to keep in the know about. So the Queens of R&B tour is about to hit. And let me tell you what this lineup is. Get ready. It is Gladys Knight, Shaka Khan, Patti LaBelle, and Stephanie Mills. They are joining forces for the Queen's Tour, and Shaka made the announcement on her Instagram, calling it a legendary moment. The tour kicks off May 9th in Vegas, and it's going to wrap up June 1st in Indy. So it's a quick one. And pre-sale starts March 20th. So are you going to pull up? You know, those are like two of my mom's all-time favorites. And listen, Shaka Khan, if she is in the right mode, fabulous. All of them, really. You can't forget about the Shaka versus Stephanie versus. You know, Stephanie reminded you guys of the legend that she is. So I said we give our legends the flowers while we can. So also, congratulations are in order to Deshaun Watson, NFL star. Questionable history for some, and his now fiance Jilly. They are engaged. The couple is officially tying the knot after 5 years together. And yeah, like I mentioned, they had a little bit of controversy, but Jilly stayed down. She held her man down, and now she has a nice little bauble to celebrate the situation. Andy, you look like you got something to say. Maybe not. So, well, listen, we'll come back to what Andy has to say because we know Andy always has a lot to add. So, in addition to that, LeVar Ball, he is speaking out about his health scare, and he revealed that it is due to complications from diabetes. He credits his sons for keeping him motivated following the 3 procedures that he had to have to first remove some toes, then his foot, and now the most latest one is most of the leg below the knee. So prayers out to LeVar Ball. He's telling men to watch out, pay attention to the health, go see the doctor, which is a message we have been talking about for everyone. So make sure you do that. When we come forward, we're going to get into these trending topics and headlines right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
The revolution will not be televised.
What's up? It is Killer Mike, also known as Michael Render, and I'm encouraging you to listen to more, not less, of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Senator Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attention. If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, I am D.L. Hughley, host of the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show, heard weekdays from 2 to 4 exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. I promise to make you think a little, but laugh a whole lot more. So tune in to the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show 2 to 4 only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are back live with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Now, you know, if at any point you want to join this conversation, 800-920-1580. Of course, you can join us on social media, KBLA 1580. Yeah, why am I saying no? That's it. I know what I'm talking about. And of course, the YouTube chat. You can download our app, take us with you on the go, and you can personally hit me up at Stiletto Jill. Now, I have one more little conversation nugget to share with you, mostly because I'm entertaining myself with this story. And let me tell you why. Well, because it's crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious. Okay, so rapper Lefty Gunplay, he was all set to perform on the Rolling Loud stage this weekend and, in front of thousands until something went wrong and the police had other plans. And right before his set, he was arrested on the spot. And I believe somebody from his entourage got it all on video and put it out. So the details of the case are kind of wild from what we hear. And, his Rolling Loud experience turned into rolling into handcuffs. So, shout out to Lefty Gunplay. I'm sure they will get the situation taken care of. I'm sure fans that were waiting to see him were a little saddened by that. Rihanna also made an appearance at Rolling Loud, but of course, not to perform, in support of her man, A$AP Rocky. He is out there doing his thing after he was cleared of charges. And Rihanna's there to support him and keep that thing moving. And guess who else was in the building on her teen out oasis? I can't believe Blue Ivy is a teen. Blue Ivy was at Rolling Loud, and I didn't see her parents in attendance with her. Of course, security was. Now, I wouldn't play with security. It's probably even more security than what you're aware of is there. They're probably way in the back watching her from the cut, bird calls and things like that to make sure Blue Ivy is safe and protected. But she is growing up, and it's kind of crazy that we see that. So those are my little conversation starters. Now let's get into this Mariah Carey shade or not. Here is the thing about Mimi. Mariah Carey is the queen of subtle shade. The queen of it. And I kind of love it, right? Because it's always appropriate and so funny. But was that moment actually shade? Was it a camera angle? Oh, by the way, I should mention, yes, seated beside her at the iHeartRadio Music Awards was Anderson .Paak. Now, they have been spotted over the past few months. Some are saying, they might be sparking a little new romance that we have to be on the lookout for. Others are saying they are working on new music. So we will have to see how that part plays out. So obviously, Mariah Carey is an icon, duh, right? She's Mariah. I know there's some lambs out there rocking with me. So during the iHeartRadio Music Awards, where she was being honored, there was a tribute to her. And part of that tribute, Muni Long, who we love, right, just won some Grammys. I think she had won some Grammys before this. This definitely wasn't her first, I believe. But, someone who's been grinding in the industry a long time, is a songwriter, stepped out on her own, had some viral hits thanks to TikTok, and is on a wave right now, right? So as part of this tribute, she performed We Belong Together. And the camera cut to Mariah for a reaction shot as Muni Long was on the stage singing. And let's just say sis didn't look too enthused in the moment, right? The video went viral with people having a debate as to whether it was a shady glance or the camera was just catching her at an awkward moment. Now, I'll leave it to you to go find the moment on social media, but I will let you hear a snippet of what Miss Muni Long was giving. And you tell me from that if you think that it was praiseworthy or shadeworthy. Look at that.
It's still so hard to believe. Come back, baby, please, 'cause what's am I gonna make now when times get rough? Who's gonna talk to me on the phone till the sun come?
Now, I understand that that is just a snippet. And I understand that, We Belong Together is a very difficult song to sing. It's high. There's a lot of breaths. Da, 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 da. I didn't think that she sounded bad, right? I wasn't offended by what I heard. But I'm not Mariah Carey. And I would just go check out the clip. I can't ask you, Andy, if you saw the clip. Wish we had a Price is Right buzzer sound, because that's what I feel like right now. Now, did it look like Mariah was giving a little shady side eye? Just a little. But maybe it was a reaction to something else and not necessarily the vocal performance that was on stage. Because I'm going to be honest, the vocal performance sounded fine to me. I didn't think that it was off or egregious or that, whatever. It certainly wasn't Prince and the Trey Songz moment when in the Prince tribute that time when, what song was Trey Songz singing? Purple Rain, maybe? I think so. So it wasn't anything like that. But, Mariah's, who Pretty Brown Mimi said in the chat, I remember when Meghan Markle of Sussex called Mariah a diva on her podcast. Nuff said. I mean, Mariah calls herself a diva. It's so funny. I think I've shared back in the day, I used to work at a record label, and Mariah was one of the artists signed to her, to the label at this time. And when we were having a listening event for the staff for Mariah's album, she was coming in to meet the staff or whatever, and we had it was for Glitter, Justice for Glitter, by the way, but we had laid out this little glitter path, and Mariah's very grand in her entrance, and she kind of looked down at the glitter path and played with it with her heel and was like, whose idea was this? And whomever it was spoke up, and she was like, cute, and just kind of nodded. And I was like, I wonder if she really liked it or not, because it could have been subtle shade, kind of like what this is. Maybe it was something else. But I'm not a lamb per se, but I am a Mariah fan. I do have a deep appreciation and love for Mimi. Shout out to Andy. I think we got it going. I think Andy's in the building.
I'm back.
You're back. Woo! Look, I got the sound effects, real live clapping. So
technology, boy, I tell you.
I mean, man.
So
I said a lot of things. I would like to hear your feedback on all of it.
All right, pose the question one more time.
Okay, which one are we talking about? Mariah, was that shade with the look?
It's kind of tough, because if we're just talking about that little tiny clip, it was like literally like a second and a half.
Right.
And at that moment, she just looks to the left or right, whatever direction she's looking at, right? Knowing Mariah Carey and her diva-ness.
Could be.
When I saw that clip, I thought about Nick Cannon off the rip. I was like, okay, I can see why they probably didn't work. I'm going to go ahead and say that it was a little bit of shade. The reason why I feel like it was shade is because even in that moment where you happen to be turning around, when other people are doing tribute songs, there's somewhat of a grin on their face a little bit. Maybe even them kind of even dancing to their own song. And there was none of that. And just considering her history of being a diva, I'm going to go ahead and say that's straight up shade. And it just it makes me think as if like they probably didn't even let her know that they were going to honor her.
No, I'm sure. I think they let you know, but she probably maybe didn't have a choice in who would be participating. Maybe something like
Come
that.
On, Mariah, they celebrating you, homie. They might not do it justice like you, but come on now, look at the people that you done influenced. Come on now.
Right, but if she's not rocking with the performance, do you want to take credit for the influence? I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm just asking.
What is that phrase? Imitation is the best form.
Sincerest form of flattery.
I mean, come on. They're not on your level, Mariah Carey. We know this. You know, but at the same time, I mean, like, you got clout too. I'd like to think that you would let them know, be like, hey, if you wasn't feeling Muni Long, you could at least try to grab somebody. I'm sure they would have, acquiesced to her.
She may not have known, though. May have been a surprise. So, LeVar Ball, what do you think about that? And lefty gunplay?
Lefty gunplay. I really don't know his situation about what occurred. I know J-Rock also got arrested too.
Don't a lot of artists every year end up getting arrested at Rolling Loud? Every year. Like, literally, it's a reoccurring thing that happens.
These rappers be over here snitching on themselves a lot of the time. And, if everybody knows where you're going to be located, I mean, the hip-hop police still exists. So they paying attention to everything that's going on. It's unfortunate. I don't know what it's all about, but it is what it is.
Get your situations together.
You know what I mean?
And LeVar, lastly.
What was the situation with LeVar?
Diabetes. That's what happened to his foot, leg, toes.
It was expected. I know some people within my family, who went through the whole diabetes or whatnot, and they got their foot amputated. So when it occurred, I was very aware that it most likely was diabetes. Once again, it's just it's a wake-up call.
Reminder.
It's a reminder. Like, for me, man, my whole advocate right now is food.
Yeah.
Switch up the diet. You know what I mean? You think taking medicine, this, that, and the third, working out is cool. Nah, man, it's the food. I'm telling you, start looking at the ingredients behind some of your favorite snacks and some of your favorite foods.
Indeed.
Or at least just encourage a balanced diet. If you don't eat fruit, man, just go ahead and eat an apple a day. When they say an apple a day will keep the doctor away, it's true. They don't push fruits and vegetables like that. They talk about this obesity problem cracking around America. When you go to these middle schools, these high schools, what do you see? You see nothing but vending machines. I'm telling you, it's a corrupt game. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but pay attention to your diet.
But vending machines are a business hustle for so many people. We'll get into that conversation another day. I'm being
funny,
I'm not funny, but serious about, how it's a pathway to small business, but the places that they target and what they chose to put in it is something else. Again, a conversation for another day.
Just the hypocrisy of America.
Things that happen, but it is what it is. Okay, let's get into Shannon Sharpe. Now, Shannon's always in the headlines. And this time, he had a conversation when he had Andrew Schultz on this week. And, of course, the conversation in and of itself is a bit controversial because people feel like, although they want Shannon to interview more white people to get in their business, they say the way that he gets into black people's business, they don't want him to interview Andrew Schultz because they feel like Andrew Schultz says some inappropriate things as a comedian. So there you go. Can't have it both ways, right? However, when he was recently on, Shannon got real about some of the boundaries that he sets in his life when it comes to women he does not know. He said that he does not get in elevators with women that are strangers. He doesn't allow women, hotel workers or, that type of situation to come and service him in that manner. Like if it's a maid to clean his room, if it's hotel room service, no women are to deliver his meals and things of that nature. And he says that it is all about protecting himself and his image from any misunderstandings. So I want to know, let's listen to what he has to say. I think we have time to play the clip before we go. So we're going to listen to what he has to say, and then we'll probably discuss it in detail after. But let's check it out.
Ride the elevator with single women.
Yes,
so
you
now,
cannot do
if
that.
a single woman is on the elevator, I gotta wait.
Wait, why don't you? Because they just get too horny.
No, I don't.
Why do they get
run the risk? Sometimes
run the risk of what?
Sometimes the mention of impropriety is enough to sway people's opinion of somebody.
Really?
So I don't do that.
So if a single woman's going to go into an elevator,
I'm not getting on it.
And what do they think?
I don't let women servers come into my room to bring food.
Really?
If they come to clean the room, I leave the room. I sit in the hallway till they're done. Then I go back into the room.
Now, have you ever blown someone's mind with that? Like, has a girl Has a girl ever done
No, I mean, a lot of times when people see me, it's like, okay, you can get on. I was like, no, I'll wait till the other. They said, no, it's fine. And I just keep it moving like that.
And do you think that they're thinking there's like some reverse racism thing there?
No, I don't know what they're thinking.
Do you clutch your purse when white women walk around?
My crossbody? Nah. Because if I'm on the elevator by myself and a woman steps on, I'll get off.
White women only or black women?
It doesn't matter.
So you won't enter an elevator with a black woman?
I don't get a
clip it. No.
Single. A single.
I refuse to ride in an elevator with a black woman.
It don't matter what color.
I just want to let you know, black women, I will ride in the elevator with you.
There you go, Gary.
Unlike Unc, I will ride in the elevator with you. Okay?
I don't care if they dress like Kanye's wife. You get nothing from me.
Oh no, I'll compliment. I think we could objectively say she is huge.
Nah, because you say something to somebody, now you make them feel uncomfortable.
She made me feel uncomfortable, yeah. If I saw her in person, I would feel very uncomfortable because it'd be impossible not to look at what she's got. I mean, she's, objectively speaking, we're just talking about biology.
Right.
She's stacked to the gills.
I take your word for it, man.
You've never seen it?
I don't.
You getting in that elevator?
No.
You getting in that elevator? You hitting every floor? He just
hell no. I don't pay no attention.
Have you met MJ?
I have.
And what was your interaction with him like?
He's mythical.
Yeah, he is
mythical. I've never met, I've met some very, very famous people.
Yeah,
I've never met anybody like Michael Jordan. He doesn't even seem real.
What is it? When are you nervous when you're talking to him?
It's like he's elevated. He's like he's glowing. You think The Last Dragon with Bruce Lee when he had that thing, he's glowing. That's Jordan. He doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time that I saw him, and I'm looking at him, and he's probably looking at me thinking like, this dude weird. Man, Sterling Sharpe, little brother, weird as hell. I'm just looking at him. I'm like, and he's levitating. Yeah. That man's feet were not on that floor in that elevator.
Air Jordan.
And every time I see him.
Oh, you went in the elevator with him?
Check this out. As a matter of fact, I got on the elevator, and he and his first wife, Juanita, was already on it. And I almost like, man, I like, F it, I'm getting I like, F it. And you know, I always introduce myself. Hello, I'm Shannon Sharpe. I'll be like, I know who you are, brother.
Wow. Okay, so he obviously is aware of you, but like it's nice to know that he even says that.
I love love your brother, you and your brother, man. I love what y'all guys do. Keep it up.
Oh wow.
And then every time I've seen him since, I get the same reaction. It's like I'm seeing him for the first time, and he's levitating.
Yeah.
When we come forward, we're going to get more into that clip and what Shannon had to say, plus more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into KBLA Talk 1580.
You're in the know with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams is not ruling out potentially running for mayor as an independent. Adams won the office as a member of the Democratic Party, but he fueled speculation on Monday that he might consider running as an independent should he lose the June Democratic primary. Wall Street is closing lower after 2 straight winning sessions. Stocks pulled back with the tech-heavy NASDAQ still in correction territory despite the recent bounce. Virginia gubernatorial frontrunners Abigail Spanberger and Winsome Earl Sears submitted signatures on the first filing day. Spanberger turned in 40,000, while Earl Sears, who was black, submitted nearly 20,000. Candidates must file by April 3rd. And Black D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser vows the city will meet its financial obligations despite federal budget cut threats. She says D.C. will keep services running while pushing Congress to approve its 2025 budget. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
Is this the title? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Actor, comedian Tracy Morgan told his followers on Instagram that he's doing okay after throwing up at his courtside seat during Monday night's New York Knicks-Miami Heat game at Madison Square Garden. The 56-year-old Morgan, a lifelong Knicks fan, was rushed to a nearby hospital during the third quarter. Morgan gave an update on his condition Tuesday afternoon from his hospital bed. He blamed food poisoning for the incident, although it's unclear if it was something he bought from the concession stands at the Garden. The game was delayed more than 10 minutes while medical staff tended to Morgan and worked workers cleaned up the court. ESPN, which was televising the game live, did not air any replays of Morgan's health scare. The Knicks beat Miami 116-95, prompting this post-game analysis from Morgan. And I quote, "The Knicks are 1-0 when I throw up on the court." End quote. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, this is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and for over 20 years, Parkside Economic Development Corporation has served Leimert Park and surrounding communities, empowering tomorrow's leaders and changing lives. Parkside EDC has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I feel so alone.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like it inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You were locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Hit it one more time, Tina. Vocals. Okay, so before we were discussing Shannon Sharpe's comments, and he discussed how he avoids. Now, the thing that I thought was interesting, that he made it a point to emphasize that he avoids getting on elevators with single women. And I feel like if you're going to take that stance, you should do it with all women that you don't know. Because, exactly, Andy. How do you know? You don't. You don't know if the same concern, fear that you have of that single woman, just because the ring is on the married woman's finger, doesn't mean that she doesn't have the same thoughts. Whatever you think is about to happen, could happen, might occur. Whatever you are trying to protect yourself from, a ring doesn't magically make it so that you are not in that position, right? So I think that I'm not mad that you take that approach. I understand that you have to protect yourself, be safe for, money grabs, people that might be a little too aggressive, whatever the case may be. Sometimes the public wants to give a little too much love in some circumstances. I'm going to assume that everyone has genuine thoughts when they are in these positions, and everybody is just reacting off of the moment, and not that there's anything deeper or darker really happening with these other people. But I do think that if you're going to take that stance, take it with both, not just one or the other. Andy?
I hear that. I think you make a valid point on that. All I could think about was the Michael Irvin situation.
Exactly, and someone mentioned it in the chat.
Obviously him being a man of status or whatnot, and I'm gonna go ahead and say him also growing up in the South.
100%.
I think that also plays a factor in just him being a big, bulky individual, just how the optics could look. And for all we know, who knows? He probably got light on before, and that's why he's so extreme with it.
There was a situation back, I believe, the reason why Shannon Sharpe stopped broadcasting on CBS back in the day, I think that there was some type of allegation out there or what have you that went away, was proven false, whatever. I think, I could be wrong, I'll fact check it, but I believe that at some point he was a victim, if you can call it that, of some situation like that. So I don't think that was too far away from the truth. And you mentioned the South, and it's funny you say that. I remember being a young kid and my mother telling me one day I didn't want to ride in the car with my dad to take one of my friends home. And my mother was like, no, you have to go. You never put your father in that type of situation. And I was a little kid. I didn't understand it. My parents are from the South. And so later, when I got older, she kind of, not because she felt any type of way about him, but just much like with Shannon, you don't know what somebody else is dealing with on the other side. So you don't want to leave yourself open to any of those type of things. And since you mentioned the South, that was part of the reason, because they both came up in the South at a time when, things could get tricky really quick. So let's get to some of these comments in the chat, because it is bubbling over in there. Forrest Harrison says, this is in reference to Mariah Carey and Muni Long. Divas always have thrown shade to other female divas. They think that they are beneath them, like Aretha did to Miss Patty. They all do throw shade. Aretha, not just to Miss Patty. Beautiful gowns. We all say that when we think something is mediocre. That was Aretha's response to a certain popular singer out there in the world. Morris Phillips says, Paul McCartney didn't like Jimi Hendrix doing his song Sgt. Pepper. And Morris Phillips also says, this is a different topic. This is on Shannon Sharpe. Vice President Mike Pence's wife went with him everywhere he went, especially if a woman was part of the group. And we know famously, Jackie Christie would not let her husband Doug interview with female reporters. She had Doug, when he was on the bench, he would have to send her hand signals and stuff like that. Some people thought Doug was in distress. But listen, they have been together 20 plus years, Doug is now the interim head coach with the Sacramento Kings. And despite all of Jackie's antics, despite the pictures and the reality shows, remember the pictures of Doug with the collar around his neck bending down and Jackie was holding on to the leash? You know, they have managed to persevere. So look at that.
Is Doug really happy though? Because anytime that relationship comes up, I always hear from her more so than I hear from Doug. And I'm just curious to know, like, if he's happy. If
Here's
he's really
my
in a good
thing.
space.
The children are grown, right? The children are, I think, beyond college age, meaning they have gone to college and graduated. I believe that they are grandparents from their oldest daughter. So my point in saying that is, if Doug wanted to leave, he could leave, you know? So I am inclined to believe that, you know, again, at points back in the day, it did look a bit as if he was being held captive or something. You know, like, blink 2 times, Doug, are you okay? But the thing is, for whatever reason, they seem to work. They got together early, I believe, when he was going to Pepperdine. That's when they got together in their relationship. We talk about cougar couples and things of that nature. Jackie's older than Doug, a couple years, you know. And so, yeah, you know, I don't know. But I do understand Shannon's point of view, as do several in the chat. Let's see. Someone else, again, mentioned Michael Irwin and the Cowboys. And Morris Phillips says, I understand, Shannon. I also play defense when it comes to temptation. And Lucas Frank said, anyone complaining about Shannon's precautions clearly isn't a black man, or if they are, they're whitewashed. Morris Phillips says, whenever you're a celebrity, you're a target. Never stop thinking that. And, you know, it is. Morris Phillips says, Jill, a married woman doesn't want any unwarranted attention. She has to be discreet. I will say, Morris Phillips, that I have been around several married women around famous personalities, let's say. And sometimes women act out.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Curry.
No, I'm not talking to, no.
I didn't say she's acting out.
I know you talking about her saying she wanted some attention.
Yeah.
I think people took that too far. She just meant sometimes you want to hear a man say, you look nice today.
Yeah.
That's all.
And Steph ain't
That's
trying to hear that, though.
Okay. Well, what he is talking about, I have seen married women in what you would describe as a good marriage fold just for the sighting of some of these individuals, right? And don't let them say hi or they think that they have a shot. Listen, not all of them, but make no mistakes about it. Some of those good wives will definitely go all out for a night of an adventure.
Jill, you are not helping for the ladies. You are not helping.
I mean, I'm going to be honest on both sides. And like I said, not all, but there are definitely some women, some good women, all things considered, that would fold for their favorite. Fold. 2 seconds flat. When we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Need a ride? Ride in style. Choose K-Meets, luxury transportation that puts you first. K-Meets has you covered with our 6-seater Sprinter limo that's perfect for couples, proms, weddings, and events. Whether it's a night out, special event, or just because, our Elite Sprinter offers the perfect blend of luxury and intimacy without the crowd. Looking for SUV? K-Meets has that too. Elite SUV service available for your next ride. Book at kmeblack.com or call today 424-500-4751. Again, kmeblack.com 424-500-4751.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacin-capted Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their program. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You were locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580 here, giving you your up-to-date news on across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, culture, all those good things. Let's talk Raven-Symoné. So we have obviously been watching Raven since she was 3 years old, introduced to us on The Cosby Show, hanging with Mr. Cooper. That's so Raven. Can't forget that Raven had a rap career. It's the Rave. What? She was a dynamic young performer that grew up and blossomed and continued on. And so, she's made some different choices later in her life. And we know that it wasn't, I can't remember when exactly she decided to open up about her sexuality. But, it hasn't been too long ago, relatively speaking, when you think about how long Raven has been in the public eye. But recently on her podcast, Tea Time, that she has with her wife, Miranda Madej, who I guess started off as her social media manager, whatever. And, they've been friends for a long time and they spill a lot of their tea on this podcast. So Raven recently revealed that she has said bye to the guys and that she is no longer bi and that she is strictly gay now. So my question is, if you're married though, do you need to make that announcement? I mean, perhaps. I don't know the situation that's going on and the rules and constructs of their marriage. So perhaps. But I'm like, I wasn't even really thinking, what happened with Raven in that one situation? But alas, she did. So since she did, we will. So let's hear from Raven's mouth the reason why she said she had to say peace to the peace.
All bi, pansexual type vibes here?
I am no longer bi.
No more bye to the guys.
I said bye to the guys. I couldn't do it. I held on as long as
they all cheated on
you. 3 times each.
One really did
though.
When I was dating men, I'd be like, you get 3 cheats. And then after the third one,
screaming
we're
at you
done.
get 3 cheats. They sanctioned cheating.
One really
had a baby and everything and was like, it was
while you were with him?
Yeah. It was crazy.
Do you date any celebrity guys?
A lot.
Secretly or
Secretly. Boo, don't play with me.
So I love my little SAG sister. Raven's a little spark plug. And she was, back in the day, not hot in these streets, but she was a little warm out there. She was dating, right? I crossed paths with her and some of the dating situations back then. But shout out to her for keeping things, which I should say as a side note, lets you know, even now, as high profile as everything is, if you want to keep something low and undercover and be like that, you absolutely can. Do you know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Now, these leaks and pops that happen, I don't know. Everybody's looking to be a power couple, get that little extra boost of PR from the shared, combo post on Instagram and what have you. Andy?
About to say something controversial.
Uh-oh.
Maybe. Who knows?
Okay.
I low-key think that she got cheated on 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, a lot of people get cheated on. Let me just, put that out there.
I already know where you're going with this.
But I just think that even at the time, in her bi-ness, if we're talking the spectrum, I think she was like 80% women over the men anyway.
Oh, okay. So you believe that she was just doing the social, conforming to social norms by being involved with men more because maybe she felt like that's what she was supposed to do, even though maybe she had more of this attraction over here.
I wouldn't even go ahead and say conforming. I'm gonna go ahead and say that she was attracted to men as well too, but I just think just who she's become, I think she was more gay than she was bi. I'm gonna assume that she was attracted to men at one point, but she probably wasn't feeling it after a while. I mean, holla at Orlando Brown, you know what I'm saying? He'll go ahead and share the experiences that he had with her. But
do we believe all of the things that he said?
I believe it.
You believe all of the things that he had to say about her?
100%.
Really?
Just considering, like, you said that she, unveils all the tea with her wife, right?
Yeah.
She keeps a lot of stuff on the low. They work together.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if they was over there getting it cracking.
I mean, they had known each other since like 12 or 10 or something like that because they started off on hanging with Mr. Cooper together, I feel. But knowing the type of guys that Raven was dating.
Oh, so you personally...
I personally know of 1 or 2. I think one of them she's talked publicly about, so it's probably okay. Just, again, we've been shuffling in these.
What can you reveal?
Well, he was a producer. He wasn't like a big producer. They were pretty young at the time. And so, young love stuff.
So what was her type, though?
Not Orlando Brown. She liked a little, again, I'm making a judgment on, from limited information, just these couple of things, but she seemed to like those ones, the fly ones, but, it's quiet.
What you mean,
those ones, fly, like he's well put together. He has the kit. He's,
So no nerds.
No. She wasn't looking for the strong, sensitive type.
The quote-unquote thug, the quote-unquote thug? Bad boy.
Bad boy is probably better than thug, because I wouldn't say she was looking... I'm not saying that. I don't know. Let me not make claim to anything like that if she was, but...
Were they the manly man?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So no flamboyance in men.
No,
okay.
Not with the... Again... limited, people come back, well, hey, I might have missed that one. I'll give it to you. Inform me, educate me like I do you. Don't attack me. I'm just playing. But, kudos to her, though, for always, saying what is on her mind and being real about the bumps and bruises of life,
It also sounds like the wife is in the know.
Yeah, they have a very interesting relationship where they seem to have a lot of fun throwing jabs at each other or whatever. And the wife they were friends for a very long time. So you know, your friend knows you, your friend knows you, your friend knows you. Forrest Harrison said, didn't Orlando Brown say he likes the gushy? Orlando Brown said a lot of stuff. And the crazy thing is, I think Orlando Brown, they said, has a wife and kids at home on the other side of all of his, delirium.
So this is just all shenanigans.
I don't know.
I wouldn't.
Maybe. I would. Listen, it is so hard to tell now because people know without a doubt what it is to go viral. And you think about when we had Vine and stuff like that. Someone would go viral and everybody would go follow them, and then we would follow that person's journey for a little while. That doesn't happen anymore because the TikTok algorithm doesn't make it so that you have to follow people anymore. So people may go viral for one thing and we never see them again. We don't follow their journey anymore and things like that. So anyway, that's my point. Shout out to all of those headlines and trending topics. I'm going to keep you guys updated, in the know, connected, and all of that. So it's only Tuesday. We still got more to come this week. Got some in-studio guests for you, and we got some interviews coming up this week that I think you will like, from some interesting projects that are out right now. So make sure that you are close and tapping in. As always, every Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m., where we cover it all like we did tonight. Mariah's Side-Eye, Shannon's Extreme Boundaries, and Raven and her, reintroduction to the world, saying, I'm married, but I'm sure I'm buried. Shout out to that. So check me out Monday through Friday right here on KBLA Talk 1580, 6 to 7 p.m. Make sure that you are locked in and ready for the voice of reason, Zoe Williams, coming up next. Thank you, y'all. I will check you out mañana.
You got me singing, ooh la la la, it's the kick to the sky on a natural high, ooh la la la, it's the heaven to sing when your heart content, ooh la la la, it's a dream that lasts forever, ooh la la la, let's stay together, ooh la la la, don't ever go, 'cause I love it so, baby, ooh la la la, don't ever go, 'cause I'll surely die if you ever say goodbye, my baby. You got me falling for you, falling with you, falling to you, falling after you, falling over, sweetie thing you.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. The Trump administration removed a rule banning segregation in federal contracts, bypassing public input. While segregation remains illegal, critics say this weakens civil rights protections. A Charlotte, North Carolina lawmaker is trying to make marijuana